You're sitting at the dinner table. Everything is fine. You're holding your fork correctly. You remembered their dog's name. You even complimented the casserole. And then it happens. Your mother-in-law locks eyes with you from across the table and says, with a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes, "So, when are you two having kids?" Red lights, sirens, full system shutdown. Your brain short-circuits. Your mouth produces sounds that technically resemble words. You look to your partner for backup, and they have suddenly become extremely interested in their bread roll. You are alone out here, completely alone. But here's the thing. Your terror is not irrational. It is not an overreaction. It is the completely predictable output of a nervous system that has just realized something ancient and primal. You are being evaluated by the tribe that came before yours. Today, we're unpacking exactly why in-laws make you want to fake your own death at Thanksgiving. We're talking about the primal approval loop, the impossible standard matrix, and why no amount of wine will make you feel like you belong at that Christmas table. Let's start here. In-laws are not just family, they are auditors. For 99% of human history, joining a new family unit meant a full tribal background check. You weren't just marrying a person, you were merging bloodlines, resources, territory, and survival odds. The in-laws were the gatekeepers deciding whether your genetics were worth the investment. That instinct hasn't gone anywhere. The moment you walk through their front door, your nervous system knows exactly what's happening. It whispers, "These people can revoke your membership at any time." So your body enters what we call the primal approval loop. Your brain starts scanning every micro-expression, every awkward pause, every slightly too long silence after you tell a joke. You are performing a 360-degree real-time threat assessment on people who are theoretically on your side. That's exhausting. And it's why you leave family dinners feeling like you just survived a job interview. For a job you already got, run by people who weren't entirely sure they wanted to hire you in the first place. Here's where it gets structurally unfair. Your in-laws have spent decades perfecting an image of what their child's perfect partner looks like. It's been baking in the oven since your partner was 9 years old. It has specific criteria, unspoken criteria, criteria that will never be written down anywhere, shared with anyone, or acknowledged out loud. You are being graded on a rubric you were never given. Too loud? Negative points. Too quiet? Suspicious. You offered to help with dishes? You're either trying too hard or, wait, did you stack them wrong? This is what psychologists call the invisible benchmark problem, and in-laws run it masterfully without even meaning to. They're not evil. They just already have a complete internal picture of the ideal candidate, and you have the profound misfortune of being a real human being instead. The kicker? The standard shifts. What earns you approval at Easter earns you a politely raised eyebrow at Thanksgiving. The rules are live, they are updated in real time, and you will never receive patch notes. Now, let's talk about your partner. Your beautiful, wonderful partner who loves you deeply and is also absolutely no help. You ask them before you arrive, "What do I talk about? What should I avoid? Is there anything I need to know?" They say, "Oh, it'll be fine. They're going to love you. Just be yourself. Just be yourself." That's the advice. From the person who has had 30 plus years to calibrate exactly who to be in that house. From someone who knows which topics to avoid, which family stories are landmines, which uncle you do not ask about his business. They have a fully loaded GPS. You are navigating with a hand-drawn map from 2003. This is the partner translator gap, the horrifying chasm between your partner's breezy confidence and your internal screaming. And the worst part? You can't complain about it, because the moment you say, "Your mom kind of intimidates me," you have now made your partner feel like they have to choose a side, and congratulations, you just created a whole different problem. Here's the part nobody talks about. The second you walk into the in-laws' house, you stop being a person. You become a specimen. Everything you do is data. You're observed eating, laughing, disagreeing, cleaning up, talking politics, not talking politics, playing with the dog, not playing with the dog enthusiastically enough. Psychologists call this the social observation effect, the phenomenon where people perform worse at tasks simply because they know they're being watched. Studies show that even a picture of eyes on a wall makes people change their behavior. Now imagine actual eyes, attached to actual people, who raised your partner and have lifelong veto power over your holiday schedule. You don't just perform worse under this pressure. You actively forget basic human skills. You knock things over. You laugh at the wrong moment. You confidently pronounce something wrong, and then, instead of letting it go, somehow double down. You become a different, jittery, slightly unhinged version of yourself. You go home and lie face down on the bed and think, that is not who I am. But it is who you are, under surveillance. And that's the point. Okay, here's the good news. It gets easier. Not because you get better at performing, but because the audition eventually ends. At some point, enough Christmases pass. Enough casseroles get complimented. Enough awkward silences get survived. And the relationship quietly, almost invisibly, shifts from evaluation mode to something softer. Something that starts to feel almost accidentally like belonging. The mother-in-law who once made your eye twitch becomes the woman who texts you a recipe because she remembered you liked that dish. The father-in-law you couldn't read eventually just grunts approvingly at something you said, and somehow, that's enough. In-laws are scary because the stakes are real. You're not just making small talk, you are being woven into someone else's family story. That matters. The nerves are evidence that you care. So the next time you're sitting at that dinner table, holding your fork correctly, desperately trying to remember the dog's name, take a breath. You're not failing. You're just new. If you have ever smiled and nodded through a family dinner while internally questioning every life decision that led you there, hit like. Subscribe for more honest breakdowns of the chaos we call human life, and drop in the comments. What is the single most terrifying thing an in-law has ever said to you? I'll see you in the next one. Hold your fork correctly, and for the love of God, just be yourself.